Eggplant lasagna. So today we are making a vegetarian lasagna, and this is not one of those things where we're trying to substitute something like an eggplant for the noodles. I'm not a fan of that at all. What we're making is a really, really fabulous way to cook eggplant. It can be done so poorly and just be slimy and gross. This method, we're gonna use a salt soak on it. It's gonna pull a little bit of the moisture out. We're gonna caramelize it by roasting it in the oven. And the salt soak also pulls some of the bitterness out of it, which just leaves you with this really delicious, hearty vegetarian lasagna. I'm a big fan of regular lasagna, but this is so good that I'm making it for Christmas this year. So here we go. First thing you gotta do is chop your eggplant. So you can certainly peel your eggplants if you'd like, but actually in this method, I really like the texture that the peel gives it. Since we're roasting it, it's gonna get kind of caramelized. However, there's a little bit of a sticker bit here that got wet and now I can't get it off. So we're just gonna take that right off, but we're gonna leave the rest of the peel on. Okay, so knock off your ends. And then I like to treat this like two vegetables. Take your neck, slice down. Just trim up the extra little bits here. Same thing with the other side. Okay, take the butt of the eggplant, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna go this way, make some planks. And you just want to think bite-sized pieces. Okay, and then repeat that with your other eggplant. If you have a dull knife for this project, trying to cut through the skin's not a great choice, so maybe go ahead and peel it. Or just sharpen your knife. This one, again, needs to be sharpened. It keeps happening. We are trying to make the pieces the same size so that they cook at the same rate. Put all the eggplant into a bowl. This is about 1 pound of eggplant. If you have a big eggplant, that's fine. These are 2 small ones. So some coarse kosher salt. And you want just enough salt to lightly coat the eggplant. Some people do a really heavy salt soak and then rinse the eggplant, but I prefer to just salt the eggplant to where I want to eat it, and I find it has enough of the same effect. It pulls out those bitter elements. Okay, so now, all the eggplant from the bowl that is tossed in salt into a fine mesh strainer. If you don't have one of these, a normal colander is fine. And we're just gonna let this sit here, and the salt is gonna pull the water out of this. Probably takes about half an hour. It's a great time to crack open a bottle of wine, find something else fun to do. Okay, we'll see you in a bit. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just get all our knife work out of the way. I forgot to buy some herbs for this. I usually like to use thyme, but I have some parsley, this Italian parsley. It's kind of sad, dying in the fridge, so we're just gonna use that. It'd be perfect. So just go ahead, take the leaves off the stems. If you get a little bit of stem in there, it's no big deal. The stems on parsley are pretty tender. It's like the punishment task on the line. If you fuck something up, you get stuck with picking cilantro or parsley. Most fine dining restaurants, you have no stem in any of your food. So, you know, get like a pound of some of these herbs, or 5 pounds most really more realistic, and just stand there and pick forever and ever. It's like dinner service comes and goes and you are still picking parsley. So we're just gonna take our sharp knife here, bunch these up. I just kind of make them into a wad, if you will, and rock right through them. We want to fine mince on these. This is going to go into our cheese and egg mixture. Here we go. That's what we're looking for right there. Beautiful. Scooch it to the side. And so our tomato sauce today is going to be super, super simple. It's just a garlic tomato sauce. So we're just going to go ahead and crush and cut a few cloves of garlic while we've got the knife out. So flat knife down, palm of your hand, and we're actually breaking this clove. You're not just a little boop like they do on the Food Network. That doesn't do anything. You have to actually break the garlic clove. Okay, once it's broken, you can take the end piece here. Shoot, pops right out. Awesome. Take off the ends, any little brown bits. And I like to just slice right through them. Some coarse kosher salt. And that salt's gonna help break down the garlic It is also going to help pick up the garlic juice so it stays off of my work surface. I'm not a garlic press person, but you know, if the garlic press is the difference of you having fresh garlic in your food or not, go for it. You do you. Okay, once you've got it into kind of a fine chop there, scrape it all together and take the edge of our knife. Don't worry about the garlic on your fingers, we are in this. And we're gonna work a little bit closer to ourselves so that we can get this whole blade on the edge. If you come back too far, your hand gets in your way. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but that's the sound of the salt helping me break down that garlic. Phew, we did it, great work. Scrape that into a bowl. And that's it, we're done. We're gonna open a glass of wine. Good job, you guys, done for the day. All right, so after you've cleaned your mess up just a little bit, we're now going to make the filling for the lasagna. The garlic's gonna be for our tomato sauce, so don't dump that in here. This is gonna be our cheese layer. Well, there'll be lots of cheese layers, but the cheesy cheese layer. So like ricotta or cottage cheese is great. I like cottage cheese though, because it has a little bit of bite. So first thing, couple of eggs. Just beat those up. A little bit of salt. Okay, say goodbye to that. We're just gonna get rid of it. Okay, so to this, go ahead and add your herbs. It's just like a 1/4 cup of chopped herbs. And again, thyme would be really nice for this, but here we are. I love fresh herbs, but I hate the little bits that go everywhere, so a dry towel is really handy for this. Just get rid of them. Okay, all right. So to this we are adding, how much is this? 1 pound of cottage cheese. I really prefer to make recipes as much as possible where you can just buy an average sized, whatever it is, and use like a standard amount to make things easier. That way you don't have just like a 1/4 cup of cottage cheese sitting in the fridge. Love cottage cheese, but it's not my favorite breakfast. Okay, mix it up. Eggy, cheesy goodness. We're gonna add just a little bit of crushed red pepper. Oh, that's okay. And I think I want some black pepper in here. I'm really just trying to make sure you get the egg incorporated so you don't have a chunk of just, you know, like scrambled egg in your lasagna. I'm not saying it'd be bad, but it wouldn't be my first choice. And if you really wanted to go wild with this cheese mixture, you could do a blend of cheeses. You can grate some Parmesan in here. We're definitely gonna be using Parm later though. Do half cottage, half ricotta cheese. Get wild, it's your lasagna. But we're gonna keep it pretty simple today. So lasagna is already a pretty intensive process. I always tell myself, it's not gonna take as long as time. It's fine, I can just bang it out real quick, but that is never true. It's always a big mess. It's always worth it. But it is a commitment and you need to know it going in. All right, so we have our cottage cheese mixture. We're gonna throw this in the fridge and then we're gonna make our tomato sauce. All right, y'all, it's time to make the tomato sauce. This is a super simple garlic tomato sauce. So just get your pan going. Do about a medium heat. Let that heat up for just a second. So we don't want the pan to be too ripping hot because garlic goes pretty quick, and what we want to do is just slightly cook the garlic until it's just a little bit translucent and fragrant. But if you have like a screaming hot pan and you throw your garlic in there, it's just gonna turn brown and crunchy real quick. It's not the worst, but it's not, you know, optimal. Okay, pan's been heating for a sec. We're gonna add our oil. It's just a grapeseed oil. You can use whatever high smoke point oil you have on hand. Just enough to lightly coat the bottom of the pan. You can tell when your oil is ready. It should run quick like water. Right now it's still a little bit slow, so I know the pan's not quite warm enough. There we go, it's running quick like water, so it's time to toss in the minced garlic. So let that saute for a few seconds. Always salt in layers, so go ahead and salt that garlic. And just about 30 seconds on this or until you start to smell it. All right, so I just have a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. It's a quick tomato sauce. If you use diced, you have to cook it for longer to get rid of that extra water content. So crushed is a nice choice for this. One time at a restaurant, one of my first prep cook jobs ever, I had no clue what I was doing. It's making just gallons and gallons of bolognese, which called for 2 of the number 10 cans of diced tomatoes. Somehow I mixed it up with the tomato soup recipe and put 10 cans in. and the chef was not pleased. He ladled it out, scolded me the whole time, and they labeled it tomato mistake, and they put it in the back of the wok, and I was mortified. And then I learned, and it was okay. Okay, again, saltine. A little bit of sugar. It's gonna balance out the acidity of the tomato sauce. Some black pepper. Plenty of fresh black pepper. Chili flakes if you like. I do. God, I hate that side. It's a constant battle. There we go. All right, so we're at a good simmer. You see the little slight bubbles around the edges? That is a simmer. So just mix that in, let this cook for, I don't know, like 10 to 20 minutes. We wanted to get just a little bit thicker, and we really wanted the garlic to infuse into that tomato sauce and all these flavors to come together. You can throw a splatter screen or a lid over here and just stir occasionally if you're concerned about it going everywhere, but I'm more in the habit of make a mess and then wipe down at the end. Always taste. So spitty, so much attitude. That was a little bit more salt I just put in, a little bit more sugar. And if it's spitting that much, it's talking to you. It's telling you to turn it down just a little bit. A little more pepper. I'm basically putting in a little bit more of everything. I want this sauce to be punchy, not just taste like canned tomato. If it's the summer, by all means, grab some little cherry tomatoes and you can just saute your garlic, throw all those tomatoes in there with a little bit of oil, cook them down, they'll completely let go, and that is fabulous. But it's November right now, and tomatoes just taste like water. That is better. All right, so while this is cooking down, we're gonna check back in with our eggplant. It probably needs to sit and finish soaking for about 10 more minutes. It's been in there for about 15. And then we're gonna roast it off and then assemble this lasagna. All right, y'all, so our sauce is done here. You can tell when it's finished. When you come in with your spatula, you see how it takes a few seconds for the sauce to run back in. Tells us it's done, okay? So just let that cool at room temperature. That way it's not like wicked hot when we go to assemble our lasagna. All right, you guys, so back to our eggplant. We're gonna roast this off. You can take it and just shake, get any of the excess liquid out of there, okay? You don't get a ton of liquid out of this, like maybe a tablespoon here. That is what we got from all that eggplant sitting in the salt for about 30 minutes. So that's great, you just discard that. That has all that bitter flavor in there. Get rid of it. So for the eggplant, it's already seasoned because we salted it. Just gonna spread it out. My bigger sheet pan is currently underneath the Thanksgiving turkey, which is defrosting in the fridge. So get a bigger pan or 2 pans, but you mostly want to try and give things a little bit of room to caramelize. This is a little crowded, but I think it'll be okay. Okay, since we already got eggplant juice all over this towel, I'm just gonna pat it dry a little bit. Oops, little tomato sauce, that's okay. They're all going to the same place. I'm just gonna pat it dry. We are trying to caramelize, brown this, develop some flavor, caramelize that sugar. That's really hard to do when you have a lot of liquid, because then it just steams. Great, you don't have to go crazy with it though. Perfect, so this is gonna go in a 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes and we'll check back in with it. All right, Joe, it's time to assemble the lasagna. So I gave up using regular lasagna noodles as soon as I discovered the oven-ready kind. I see no difference in the taste from time to time, and it saves an entire step, an entire pod. You don't have to deal with stringy noodles. Just get oven ready and slide them in there. It's fantastic. Okay. So very first thing we're gonna do is start with a layer of the lasagna noodles on the bottom. The great thing about this is you just put them in, and if it doesn't quite fit, you break it. It's just like a 9x13 casserole dish. I grew up in the Midwest, so it's, you know, 9x13 casserole dishes are like religion down there. There we go. Okay. First, we've got our cottage cheese, egg, and herb mixture here. And you wanna just look at how much you have, and then you go, okay, I need 1/3 of this. We're gonna do 3 layers. So you take approximately 1/3. Spread it out. doesn't have to be perfect. It's all gonna be one big delicious pile. And once you get the first layer on here, it's a little bit easier. It acts like a glue for the rest of the layers. So, you know, get it kind of even, but don't spend all day on it. It's just lasagna. All right, after this, we've got tomato sauce. So again, we're just gonna stir this up and then look at what we got. Go 1, 2, okay, that gives us thirds there. So let's go ahead and take some there, some there. Perfect. And just do your best to spread this out. Like at this point, we're spreading liquid on liquid. So it's not gonna be beautiful, but it's gonna be real good. Yum. All right, time for eggplant. So I pulled this out of the oven after 20 minutes. I stirred it, like really flipped it over is what I was going for. You can see all the brown marks here where it was starting to caramelize. That's the sugars, it's fantastic. I added a little bit of oil, flipped it over and roasted it for about 15 more minutes. And you always want to give it a taste. I tried it, it needs actually a little bit more salt despite the fact that we salted it earlier. So salt it up, toss it in, and what we've done here is we've caramelized the sugars, which develops flavor, and by roasting it also, we evaporated a lot of the natural liquid that's in there. If you just throw raw eggplant in your lasagna or like steamed eggplant or eggplant that's not fully caramelized, it's gonna release so much water as it cooks in your lasagna, and that makes those soggy, nasty lasagnas that just like washes all the good flavor away. So this is fantastic. So go ahead and take, and we're just gonna do 3 layers total, but the last layer is going to end with cheese on top. So we just need 2 layers of the eggplant. So about half of what you got here. All right, and then you just relayer. So more noodles. That's close enough. Let's get like the gist of it covered, and that'll be good. All right, another layer of this. And the 2 bottom layers, I like to go a little bit heavier with the sauce and the cheese on. And the top, we're gonna top with a bunch of mozzarella and Parmesan, so that'll be plenty. More sauce. Spread it out. Rest of the eggplant. And our last layer of nudes. Extra noodles. You never get the same thing twice in these lasagna noodles. Okay, save these for, you know, nothing ever. The next time you make lasagna in like 9 months from now. All right, rest of your cheese. And again, it's a little lighter, no big deal. I don't know if you can see that sink behind me, but this is the point with lasagna. You start looking at the dishes, just pile and pile, and it's a project. It will be worth it though. All right, the rest of your sauce. Okay, that's not very sexy looking now, is it? So what you want is a healthy amount of Parmesan. And I have so much Parmesan here, just some fresh grated. I'm not a big fan of the pre-grated stuff, but I was going to layer it in between all the layers and I've forgotten. That's okay, you can use Parm for a lot of things. Healthy layer of that. This is 8 ounces of mozzarella. Some fresh mozzarella sliced is really nice. If I do fresh, I prefer the firm to the super soft. This holds up a little bit better. It's a little less watery to me. So really, we're gonna use about all of the 8 ounces of mozz on here. Yes, this is gonna be some good stuff. And why not a little bit more Parm in there to really flesh it out? This is not the time to be conservative. You've made a lasagna. Okay, so I dropped that oven to 350 degrees after that eggplant came out. We're just gonna pop this in for about 30 minutes, check it. We might turn the broiler on at the very end just to get some nice brown bubbly cheese on the top there. And that's it, eggplant lasagna. Let's get it baked. All right, y'all. We have our eggplant lasagna ready to go. God, look at all the ripples. This is just gorgeous. Can't Okay, I have to take a picture of this or a slice of this or something for the website, so I'm just gonna put some of this chopped parsley on it. But really, it's just for looks. Because, I mean, who doesn't look at like ripply golden brown cheese and want to dive straight in? I don't know anyone. No one I'm friends with. Anyways, this is Eggplant Lasagna. Thank you for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button for me if you would like to see more. And if you'd like to make this recipe, I have the written version with all the quantities, measurements, all that jazz over on cleavercooking.com. Enjoy.